How's it going, everybody? It's me, PK, back with another video. Let's go. I'm just playing. I'm not that type of guy. I'm super chill, man. I'm super chill. But I thought this was a pretty cool, fun idea that I wanted to do, where I can just talk about games, or I could just sit down and talk about games. Top 50 games of all time. I've seen a lot of other people do this, and I thought it'd be pretty fun just to, you know, do this myself, just to go down memory lane and talk about the games that I like, what I grew up with. I know a lot of other YouTubers have probably done stuff like this, but I kind of wanted to just do it myself, just to have a little fun on my end. And I think this would be a nice, perfect opportunity to have a conversation in the comments. Maybe you could put down your best games of all time, and we can have a little chat. I personally did not grow up with PlayStation, so I don't have a lot of PlayStation games on my list. You might think I'm crazy for not putting some games on this list, and you can talk about that on the comments if you want, or you can put your top 20, 30, whatever games you want, and we can talk about it, you know? Maybe are these games I should play? You let me know. I think the best way to do this list is to go down console generation. So we're gonna start things off with the Sega Genesis. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, he's just gonna put Sonic. I decided not to put Sonic here yet. I'm not gonna put Sonic yet. Obviously, Sonic's a big part of my life. I love Sonic. I know Genesis games are loved, and you could put maybe like 5, 6 on this list, but I'm just gonna put 2 because I just have so many games to talk about from different eras. So I'm just gonna put 2 for now. First one, it's gonna be Streets of Rage 2. This is self-explanatory. I don't think I have to explain why I have Streets of Rage 2. I think a lot of people would put this on their top games of all time. It's just the beat 'em up of all time. The next game is very interesting. I had to really think about it because it's not a game I played as a child. It's a game I played recently. I had to really think about this. And the reason I'm putting Phantasy Star 2 on this is because I recently played it and I was like, man, this is actually really good. It started off very frustrating, but after a while, I was like, wow, this was actually a good game, you know? At the time of this recording, I have not played 3 or 4 yet. So I could easily come back 3, 4 years later, and I could update this list, but for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that. I'm going to transition here to the NES. I didn't grow up with the NES, so I am going to put only 2 games on this list. I had to think about it, but I think Mega Man 2 is going to go here. I haven't played all the Mega Man games. I should probably do that at some point. It's the most memorable one for me because I think it's one of the few ones that I actually beat. I am also going to put Final Fantasy 1 on this. Now, I didn't grow up with PlayStation, so I will go ahead and say that this will be the only Final Fantasy game on my list. Now, you're probably thinking like, this guy's crazy. What about 7 and 8 or whatever? I don't care. I didn't grow up with that stuff. I didn't play them, you know. Should I play them? You let me know. Should I play Final Fantasy? Oh, I just hit my mic. Should I play Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10? All of the later PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 Final Fantasies, I didn't own them, nor did I ever get a chance to play them. You let me know what's your favorite. Maybe I'll check it out. I don't know. Final Fantasy 1 is the most played Final Fantasy for me. I beat it on the NES, I beat it on the Game Boy, and I beat it on the PSP. And every single time I've played the game, I've had a good time. All right, let's move on to the Super Nintendo. Originally, I had 4 games, but I cut it down to 2. The first one is going to be Super Mario RPG. I did not play this as a child. I played this much more recently. My playthrough of it is actually on YouTube if you want to check it out. I absolutely loved it. It's so charming. It's just phenomenal. I have to put Super Mario RPG on this list because it's Super Mario RPG. It's such a good RPG. It's not hard at all. It's easy, but it's charming and it's great. I also will put Mega Man X here. Mega Man X, one of the few Mega Man games that I actually beat, and Mega Man X is actually super duper awesome. I need to play the other ones for sure. Like I want to say like a couple months ago, I tried to play X4 and I was getting my ass kicked, man. I gotta actually sit down and play that. Honorable mentions for Super Nintendo is gonna be Super Mario World, Super Punch-Out. I love the Punch-Out series, but I'm gonna leave it out of my list for now because there's a Punch-Out game that comes out much later that I love. Let's move on to the Dreamcast. You're probably wondering, oh, he's just gonna put PSO here. I'm not gonna put PSO yet. I'm gonna put that in the GameCube section. Spoilers, I'm putting PSO on this list for obvious reasons. I have more experience with the GameCube version of PSO rather than the Dreamcast version, so I'm going to keep it all separate. I have 3 Dreamcast games, but one of them is not really a Dreamcast game. It just happens to have a Dreamcast port. Sonic Adventure, Crazy Taxi, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I should probably explain why I only have Sonic Adventure and not Sonic Adventure 2. Like, once again, I had to make a lot of cuts, and I just prefer Sonic Adventure 1 over Sonic Adventure 2. Crazy Taxi is just, it's Crazy Taxi. I love Crazy Taxi. I'm recording this after the whole Sega announcement at the Game Awards, and holy crap, I am so excited. I am so hyped. As for Street Fighter Third Strike, out of all the 90s era fighting games, I would put Street Fighter Third Strike above all of them. This would just be a good time to put Street Fighter 3 here because I didn't grow up with the arcade scene. There weren't a lot of arcades around me. In fact, the only time I've ever experienced an arcade at all was when my mom took me to the laundromat because I had to help her. And the laundromat just so happened to have like maybe an outrun machine and maybe like a fighting game there and a Pac-Man machine. So that's my experience with arcade. I didn't grow up with arcade. A lot of the fighting games that I played were on consoles. So I'm just going to throw Street Fighter 3 here. Moving on to the N64, and I have a lot of N64 games on this. Super Mario 64, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Ocarina of Time, Banjo-Tooie, Pokemon Stadium 2, Le Paper Mario, and actually one of my favorite wrestling games of all time, WWF No Mercy. Mario's, I think that both Mario games are self-explanatory. They're just, you know, they're Mario games. Zelda's self-explanatory. I put Banjo-Tooie over Banjo-Kazooie because I think Banjo-Tooie is a much better game, in my opinion. Pokemon is a huge part of my life, but I had to make a lot of cuts, so I don't have a lot of Pokemon games on this list. I had to make a lot of cuts, so no Gen 1, no Gen 2. We'll just put Pokemon Stadium 2, and this game was amazing. I don't know what else to say. Conker's Bad Fur Day is easily the best N64 game, and I would put it above all of these games. WWF No Mercy has a very special place in my heart because I spent hours upon hours making creative superstars. The story actually had branching paths. You can take on any championship you wanted, and it was it's like one of the best arcade style wrestling games ever. That's it for the N64 games. I could put more. You probably have more N64 games on your list, but I'm going to keep it with this. I think this is a solid amount of N64 games. I think this is a good time to move on to the PlayStation. I only have 2 PlayStation 1 games and 1 PS2 game. Like I said, I didn't grow up with PlayStation, so that's why there are not a lot. For PlayStation 1, I'm going to go with Crash 3, and I'm also going to throw in Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Crash 3 is probably my favorite Crash game of all time. Castlevania in general is one of my favorite series. I love Metroidvanias, so I had to put that there. I didn't grow up with PlayStation. I'm going to put these 2. They're phenomenal. They're great. For PlayStation 2, I'm going to put Kingdom Hearts 2. I'm just going to throw Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 2, I played much later. I didn't play during that era of PlayStation 2. I played it like during the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 when they had that story collection. I started off with Kingdom Hearts 1. I loved it. Then I moved on to Chain of Memory. I hated it. Ended up watching the movie cutscenes. Then I moved on to Kingdom Hearts 2, and then I loved it again. I think Kingdom Hearts 2 improves a lot over Kingdom Hearts 1. That's why I only have Kingdom Hearts 2. Yeah, this is pretty much it for PlayStation. Like I said, did not grow up with it. You probably have a lot more PlayStation games on your list. Let's move on to the Xbox. My household was primarily Xbox, and I had a cousin that had Xbox, so I'm going to throw in a few Xbox titles. First one's definitely going to go to Fable. Picture this. It's 2004. You've primarily only played on Genesis, N64, and handhelds, and then all of a sudden, you fire up the Xbox and you throw Fable in there, and all of a sudden, your life changes. Playing Fable for the first time back then was insane. The choices you made changed your features. You can be evil, you can be good, and you actually physically changed depending on your decision. Combat was great. It was visually stunning. It just felt like night and day going from the N64 to playing Fable. You most certainly cannot talk about Xbox without talking about Jet Set Radio Future. To this day, hands down, one of my favorite OSTs of all time. So, do you like stealth games? I love stealth games. Hey, here's a stealth game. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Play Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Turn off every single light in your room. The only light source should be the screen. Just be a secret agent stealth guy who takes people out and hides in the shadows. You thought WWF No Mercy was my only wrestling game on this list, but you'd be wrong. I'm going to consider Def Jam Fight for New York a wrestling game. There's just nothing quite like Def Jam Fight for New York, and I don't think there will ever be anything quite like Def Jam Fight for New York. Grand Theft Auto was a huge part of my life. I will admit that I spent a lot of time killing hookers, running over pedestrians, and putting in cheat codes to make my tank fly. San Andreas, Vice City. Originally, I was going to put 3. I didn't really grow up with 3, so I'm just going to keep 3 out of it. I was going to put 4, but I had to make a cut, so I cut 4. I will acknowledge that I love 4. 4 is great. I think GTA 5 was very good for its time, but there's just something about the cheat codes, man. You gotta have the cheat codes. You just gotta have the cheat codes. The cheat codes make these games much more infinitely fun. Speaking of Rockstar, I think it is appropriate for me to put both Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead 1 came out on the 360 and Red Dead 2 came out on next gen, but I'm gonna group them up with the other Rockstar games because they're all open world to do whatever you want games. You know what I'm gonna do actually? I'm gonna take this out and I'm gonna put the zombie one. You remember the zombie DLC? I thought that was awesome. Oh wait, they actually have a picture with both. Alrighty, it is time to move on to the GameCube. We made it. I'm gonna speed run through all of these. An obvious one is gonna be Phantasy Star, Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, Metroid Prime 1 and Metroid Prime 2, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. For the next one, I'm definitely cheating. This is straight up cheating. I'm sorry, I'm cheating on this one. Look, I'm cheating because it's my list and I could do whatever the hell I want. Listen, Sonic Mega Collection, the best Sonic collection ever. I would say it's the best collection ever. Which Sonic game belongs on my list? The answer is yes. I was thinking, do I put Gems Collection here? I was like, not really, because Gems Collection is really for me only Sonic R and Sonic CD. Sonic CD is okay. I mean, it's not my favorite. I do like Sonic R, though. Sonic R is just one of those guilty pleasures of mine. Hey guys, look, it's a Metal Gear Solid game. Like I said, I didn't grow up with PlayStation, so I haven't played all the Metal Gear Solid games. This was my first experience with Metal Gear Solid. The first time Psycho Mantis read my memory card, I was so lost, and I was scared. Oh, so you like to play Super Smash Bros. Melee? I'm like, how did he know that? What? I had to make a lot of cuts for GameCube because there's a lot of GameCube games that I love. I am aware that some of these titles are multi-platform, but I played them on those consoles. I just want to get that out there. So I know this is like Mega Collection Plus. I think the GameCube one didn't have the Plus. I think it was only for Xbox and PlayStation. Same goes for the Grand Theft Auto games. I know they came out on PlayStation and Xbox, but I experienced them on the Xbox. These next two games are sports games. Sports games? What? I didn't know he played sports games. Well, I did. But these aren't just any sports games. If you haven't played NBA Street Volume 2, and I'm also going to put NFL Street Volume 2 here, I need you all to understand that they don't make sports games like this anymore. I don't watch basketball. I don't watch football. But would I play these games? Hell yes. Let's go ahead and throw some handheld games. Let's go ahead and throw Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, one of my other favorite Castlevania games. I wanted to put more Castlevania games, but let me not fill this list with like a bunch of Castlevania games. I can't talk about handheld without putting Pokemon. Like I said earlier, Pokemon's a huge part of my life, so I have to put Pokemon on this. Pokemon Black and White 2. I'm just going to put Black 2 because that's the one I had. And we're going to go with Pokemon Platinum. Fun fact, Pokemon Platinum was the first game I've ever pre-ordered in my life. Let me show you something. Do you know what this is? If you don't know what this is the pre-order bonus for Pokemon Platinum when you pre-ordered it at GameStop. I still have this. All right, let's move on to the Wii. I only have 2 Wii games. I love Punch-Out, okay? Punch-Out for the Wii is so good, and if you haven't played it, you have to play it because it's so fun. I'm also gonna throw Xenoblade Chronicles here. I played it for the first time on the Switch, but I will acknowledge that it did come out on the Wii, so I'm gonna put it here. Xenoblade Chronicles, when I first played it on the Switch though, that kind of blew me away. I don't know what else to say other than you can't have a rainbow without rhyme, baby. It's time to move on to the Xbox 360. When I think Xbox, the first game that comes to mind is Skyrim. Skyrim is not only in my top 50 games of all time, it's probably in my top 10. I thought a lot about which Call of Duty game I want to put here because I'm only putting one Call of Duty game on this list. I'm going to go with the one that started it all for me, Modern Warfare 2. Not really much I can say. Around this time, I was just the Call of Duty guy. I don't play Call of Duty anymore, but around this time, this was the game. Now, I love open world games. I like stealth games. You know what's an open world stealth game? That's right, Batman Arkham City. Oh, hey, look, it's another open world game, Fallout New Vegas. Wow, 2 Bethesda games on this list. This is crazy. I guess it's also classified as a shooter as well. Speaking of shooters, Gears of War was a game. Do you remember that commercial where they played that song, Mad World? Halo 3 was probably the reason why people got an Xbox 360, but for me, it was Gears of War. Gears of War 2, Gears of War 3, yeah, those are all great. I'm going to go with Gears of War 1 because that was the game that started it all, and I still like it. It's really weird that I don't have a lot of fighting games on this list, but I'm going to go with Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4 is the only fighting game where I probably have more than 500 hours of playtime. I spent countless hours playing online, learning new characters, learning combos. I don't think I'll ever put more time in a fighting game. 3 games left, and I have to put Binding of Isaac up in here. When I first started streaming, I was streaming off my Xbox One. I was streaming this and Call of Duty. The granddaddy of roguelike games. It's gotta go here. Now for the next game, like I said, I didn't grow up with PlayStation, but I feel like I have to put Last of Us on the list. I gotta give it to Last of Us 1, man. That was a really solid game. One more game on my list, and I have to give it to World of Warcraft. I have an on and off relationship with World of Warcraft. All of 9th grade, I didn't do any homework. Eat, sleep, go to school, come home, play World of Warcraft. I'm actually playing it now. I'm playing Season of Discovery. I have a level 25 Warlock. All right, now I think I have to order this. So I'm going to go ahead and order it, but I'm going to skip to the end because I'm going to be here for a while. Okay, I ordered it as best as I could. I had to do a lot of thinking. I spent a lot of time thinking about it. This is how I would order it. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this. If you've made it this far in the video, you're awesome. And I would love to hear everybody's opinion on what their favorite game is. If you have any recommendations for me, yo, man, let me know. I want to know. I want to know what your favorite games are. I want to know what games I should play next, man.